eat on myself.
All right. Welcome back, guys, to Life Untangled podcast. And this is your boy KC and
Shane. Thank you guys for joining us on our 7th episode, right?
7th episode.
On our godly platform to inspire, evolve, and share all our transparencies.
Amen. Yes, she got that one right.
I don't know if I got it right, though. It might have been to evolve, inspire, evolve.
Y'all know what it is. This is episode 7. If you haven't memorized it yet, then
It'll be our catch tune.
Yeah, I haven't memorized it. I'm gonna do it. I think if we have one more episode, I'll do it. I'll make sure I memorize it.
No, I got it right. To inspire, evolve, and share our transparencies and stuff.
Okay.
All we need to worry about is a godly platform where we can just inspire one another.
Yes, and before we get started, extra shout out to our brother Prophet DRE for these lovely Overcomer t-shirts and Overcomer snapback. Don't forget.
Snapback. He would throw it that far, right? Overcomer, because we are definite overcomers to what we been through, yes,
which
and it also
segues into the topic.
Yeah, thank you, sir. He I thought I was gonna say that part, but he took it. So yeah, it's a great. We're wearing these t-shirts because it's a great connection to the topic we're about to share with you guys, and hopefully many of you out there can relate to it, which I'm sure. And it's remaining still. How to just remain still in the moment, but more so in God, in order to come together and let's make sure I'm getting this right. Keep your mindset elevated as a couple, as a family, and be sure you're not, thrown off of the alignment of having that internal godly peace that you should be functioning in.
Right. So if you are just getting married, or if you are getting married, or if you're in a relationship, it's impossible for your relationship to be 100% like fairies and pixie dust. Like,
very true.
In the beginning of any relationship is always joy, bliss. You love
date nights, a little bit of everything.
Right. You love being with your partner.
The honeymoon phase.
You love the talks and just everything in the initial phase. It's almost like if you get in a fresh new pair of sneakers, right? You get a fresh pair of sneakers. Or ladies,
a fresh new pair of heels or a brand new bag. Whatever your joy is. Yeah,
a new car. You enjoy that new car smell. You like, every time you open up that car, you get in that car, you're like, man, it smells
You
good.
melt in the seats.
Right. But after a month or 2 months or a year or 2 years, that new car smell dissipates, and you have to continually renew this car that you're in. You have to get into this car like it's the first time, and just keep your mindset at this point where like every time you get into this car,
you're getting
fresh.
into it with a grateful heart, with like, I'm gonna take care of this car is gonna take care of me type of thing.
Exactly. So in relationships, you always have to almost treat it like it's every day like a day one.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Every day like it's a first date.
Exactly.
That's what I think makes a relationship thrive, throughout the years.
And in the midst of relationships, you go through your ups, you go through your downs, and how do you keep renewing your day one? How do you keep making this relationship fresh and new? Because no one is perfect, right? I am flawed, and I try to self-analyze. Some people do that. Some people don't do that. Mm-hmm. But you have to, one, look at yourself. What am I doing wrong? Like, she doesn't like this. Most people are like, who cares what she, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you have to, like, if this is your partner, you want to make them happy. You don't want them upset. So you have to kind of say, okay, well, she's not feeling this, so I'm gonna have to look at myself to change this aspect of my being and keep it fresh. As well as, if you know, every couple goes through arguments, and some arguments are very
altered and some are minute.
right. And I guess that was episode 1. If you haven't seen episode 1, where
Go back and watch it.
we have a mock argument. It's
No,
a little bit
that
escalated.
It wasn't even an argument. I came out to be the bad guy.
It could be anyone. It could
was
be
detrimental.
I think if I was the bad guy, like, then like they'd be like, "Hey, wait a second." So it's a little bit good when a woman is like, you know, doing her thing. But the point is, a lot of arguments can end very detrimentally.
Disdained.
So you have to be able to navigate that, and you know, always look at your partner as
Having your best interest at heart as your best friend. It's supposed to be when you come together with your partner, and especially, you know, as we've learned along the way, your purpose partner, where you're connected and you're in tune. Learning that it's okay to do self-therapy on yourself. You know, it's okay to tweak things. You know, it's not healthy to completely change who you went into the relationship with, but to make the relationship a well-balanced one, it's all about give or take.
right. And I think one of the methods that I did was I didn't really create a physical list, but before things get out of hand, you have to kind of like say, okay, let me make this list of likes and dislikes. So you like all of this stuff, and then it's like these 2 or 3, maybe even, like, let's just say it's 10 things that you don't like. Those 10 things outweigh all the great and positive things. So if that's the case, then you have to be like, all right, is this argument worth it, or is it worth splitting up because of this? Can we work out a compromise? Can we stay level-headed in the midst of this storm to ride it out, to see a new day,
Yeah,
a
it's
new
just
sunshine?
Like, we've always said that, you know, I'm a big believer in any relationship, not just marriage. If there's a confrontational moment, pull back, pull out of it. Look at the bigger scope of things, the bigger picture, so you have more clarity. You know, don't just vibe off of it because of what words are being exchanged at the moment, what emotions are being thrusted into it. You have to be able to discern and decipher, you know, okay, where in this particular conversation piece, what went wrong? What did I say? What did the person say? You know, just look at it for its whole scope, and not just the minute things. Like you said, making a list of pros and cons in your mind or on paper, which we suggest, of your partner or of whatever relationship. Look at what great attributes they have compared to the cons, you know, and see if that relationship is healthy for you, healthy for either of you. So
what let's identify certain storms, right? You know, storms can be, you know, mental storms. It could be financial storms.
Trauma.
It could be health storms. A storm can literally just mean just a great challenge that you have to not look at it in the now, right? You have to always kind of say, okay, well, this is happening now, but it's not going to last forever. It's not infinite. And you have to, you know, do your best to stay level-headed. Try to use intellect over emotions. And I'm not men and women, because certain things is like you get emotional, certain things are said that you cannot take back.
yes,
And potentially it could be relationship ruining words that,
yep,
bye-bye relationship. And if there's kids involved, that's a whole nother story. But the point is to really think about things. Really don't, like, whoever starts the argument doesn't have to finish it, right? We don't have to, like, go tit for tat. We can kind of say, okay, well, you say your piece, and whatever it is, try and stay level-headed and maybe revisit it when the party has calmed down.
And another key point I want to add to that, which, my husband has been a key in this, coming from a family that we cut each other off a lot when we speak, and you feel like you have to climb this Goliath wall. Listening is key in any relationship. Listen to what your partner is saying. Where are they trying to take the conversation? Is it hurtful? What projected words are being thrown out? What are their needs? What's an area you can serve them in better? That you can, meet them in the middle to have that perfect balance. And humility goes a long way in any relationship. So
absolutely. Me and Shane was talking about this just the other day, right? No, it's nothing bad, but
I'm just laughing at when you word it. The New York style comes out right there.
Oh yeah, she's always correcting me on that. So yes, when children go to school, right? You learn math, reading, social studies, history, maybe a little bit of art, and gym, right? Pretty much that's it. Yet they don't teach psychology, right? Because our daughter, she was having some issues, and I told her to analyze it psychologically. Why is that person saying what they're saying to you? And is it true on what they're saying? So if it's not true, they're saying it for a reason to try and get you to react to something. So the key is in this is like psychologically analyze, like, okay, they're saying this because of what? Like really self-analyze and go back and pull back and be like, okay, somebody's like, I hate you because, whatever. And you have to be like, okay, well, why is she saying this? Like, did I do something? Is it triggering something?
Yeah, what triggered it?
What's the trigger point? And then go back, because it could be you. It could be something that occurred to her during the day. It could be something that occurred to her years ago. And every time she hears or sees something, it just triggers. Like in the movie Get Out, right? The psychologist in there had the little trigger point because she's like stirring her tea and she's like, bing, and that little noise sent him into the dark place. and
that was a form of hypnotism, though.
Right, but the noise triggered something, right? So you've mentioned that like certain noises
you can
triggered something that
trauma, like what you carry in your subconscious.
Exactly. So when she, there was a point where she kept, let's just say she was getting on me about something, and I'm like, why does she keep getting on me? I was like, that's not that serious. And then we had like a real conversation, and then she informed me like, oh,
I had to come to my truth.
Right.
Moment.
This was the reason why. And I was like, oh my goodness, I never would have thought. And it wasn't like I felt bad. Now I really understood. And we had to like just just continue to communicate to work and resolve that issue.
Yes.
So it didn't affect her and it didn't cause her to react and like get on me, and we've moved forward. But there's always a trigger point. And what we learned, really talk to God.
That's the number one for us in our family.
Ask God, like, God, what is it? Right? I'm not who you can believe what you want to believe. We in this family,
we pray
believe,
about it.
We
talk
believers.
about it.
And when you literally ask God, the answer comes, whether in a dream, whether through someone else, whatever it is, the answer 100% comes. 100%. So you have to. God is there for a reason, right? He's your father, and he imparts great advice, but he's only going to give that advice if you ask, right?
And that's actually the best advice is, because the topic is, remaining still. So in that stillness, even in chaos, people don't realize you can't hear the voice of God. You can't discern between what voice are you hearing, or what is it, your emotion you're reacting off of? Is it God? Is it, it could be a million things. So in the stillness, that's where you should really go deep and seek out God, and have your partner as well. Like, both of you should be praying and meditating on the word, on whatever it is that you're trying to seek an answer about.
That's actually an awesome point, because praying together, right? As a unit, if you're married, even if you're a couple, it's couple goals, and you are going to be married, a lot of people don't even practice this, and it's no wonder certain marriages fail. Is because they don't practice praying together, because you're becoming one. So as my wife just said, becoming one accord and saying, okay, well, what do we want for our future? Well, I know I want a 4-bedroom house. She may be like, well, I wanted a 5-bedroom house. It's like, no wonder we're not getting into a house, because we don't even know what we want.
You're not in agreement, exactly.
So really coming together as a unit in communicating, like, set a business meeting. This is a family business meeting, and just say, okay, well, we're gonna go over, like, where do we want to be at in the next 3 to 5 years, and just create this plan and say, okay, well, I want this. Why? Oh, I want that. And why? And say, okay, well, let's see how we can meet in the middle.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden these things will really start manifesting quickly, right? And then also, again, asking God, is this what you want for us?
Yes.
Or of us? And just keep knocking down those lists, and pretty soon you'll be in a really great position.
Amen. Yes, that's true. So adding to what he said, being on that one accord, that you become one when you get married. Being in agreement is important. Even if you're a family, like our family, we lay everything on the word. For us, the word holds truth. The word is the living word. So the Bible in itself says in Matthew 18:19, again, I say unto you that if 2 of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. So the word accord also is in the Bible in several different parts of it. And it's where people come together, one voice, one plan, one prayer, one whatever it is that you're taking to God, in order for it to manifest, as my husband said, for God to give you that answer. God will listen to you where 2 or more are gathered. There's power in that. So for us, we do that. You plan, you pray, you persist, and you will see, God will see you through whatever it is that you've stood in agreement and in prayer and bringing to him, keeping him in the midst of everything, front, middle, back, in everything. So
Bam. But let me add on to that. You must be careful, and you must use your voice, right? And the Bible says, God said, let there be light, right? So God spoke creation into existence, right? So the voice, the vibrations coming out of your mouth are extremely, extremely, extremely powerful. So that's why you have to be very mindful of what you say to your partner in jest, in anger. And if you are of one accord, you speak these things out loud, right?
Yes.
Like, honey, we're going to get this 5-bedroom house with a pool. Your book is going to be number one, right?
Yeah, anything at all in any area. You have to speak those things into existence.
Right. So you must not only write it down, you discuss it, but speaking it is just claiming it. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Take it up a notch though. Let's go to the next level.
All right. So I gave an example, I think, to my son about like how the future operates, right? So if you think of a piece of paper or napkin in the wind, right? It floats and it's like almost impossible to know where that piece of paper is going to land, right? But if you speak something continuously into existence, it's like putting a paperweight on that paper so you know, oh, this future right here is going to be right here, and that's where I'm going to go to. So speaking period is extremely, extremely powerful, right? Because we could speak good or bad. You know, life and death is in the power of the tongue. The tongue is like a double-edged sword that can like cut and slice through anything, right? The same as like an argument. Like you could say something that's like, yeah, well, you're big-headed. You just slice somebody right in half. Or you could say, you know what, you're the most kindest, gentlest man I've ever known. Oh, wow, you just spoke life into this person. So again, you got to speak, you got to use your voice, but be careful of what you say and how you say it, right? Always speak the positive things, no matter how bad it looks. We can give so many examples of this is probably for like a 10-parter of what we've been through. But in the midst of it, no matter how bad it looked, we continuously speak life into each other, into our goals, into our careers, and some have manifested.
Yeah.
Others haven't yet. But just because it hasn't manifested yet doesn't mean we just stop speaking like, oh, it's over, so I'm just not going to say nothing. No,
exactly.
It's continuous. It's never ending. That's what prayer is for, is just to kind of say, God, you said this, so I'm holding it. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to be persistent and keep saying it because you put this in my heart, and I know it's going to manifest. And when you know, you just know.
Yes, that is so true. So connecting to that also, yes, there's power in your words. It's vibrational, what you're putting out. And like you said, it's, speaking life or speaking death. And it's the same thing that goes hand in hand with your thoughts. Your thoughts are also connected to that life that you are speaking. You can't say, oh, I believe in you becoming a director. But in your thoughts, you're like, yeah, I don't see this going nowhere.
Thoughts are vibrations.
They're vibration. Thank you. Those are also things that they have to be on one accord. Your mind, your thoughts, basically, and your words have got to be on the same page. Same thing with people coming together in a relationship, in father, son, anything at all. Whatever you believe, you speak. You believe, you speak. So you have to be careful. These are powerful weapons.
Right.
They are powerful tools that are given to us, that we were born with, that God placed into each of us. And you have to make the conscious decision when it comes to anything, and I mean anything, that you are on the same page, that you are writing it down, that you are also diligently, following through with your plan of action. You're not just going to say well, God, I want a 5-bedroom house. And it's just going to be like, boop, there you go. You have to be able, there's things that have to be in order, that have to be written out, that you have to follow through with. You know, prayer works, but you also have to put the work in as a couple, or, you know.
And I think the last point is listen, right? You got to pose a question. Where do your thoughts come from? Right? Where do your thoughts come from? Your thoughts come from God, right? So God is in constant communication with you 100% of the time.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
However, if you're not, let me see if I can word this right. Like, I believe that God is always speaking to you, but if you're not aligned, right? It's just like a radio station. If your dial is in between stations, you get feedback from other things and other stations,
The
right?
frequencies, yeah.
So those other things is the enemy trying to disconnect you from the truth, right? Because God is the truth. So you have to be able to discern and listen to God's voice, right? And a perfect example is, my wife has had some health setbacks, right? We just moved to LA, Culver City. And 2 days before, I believe, she went to the hospital. So we get to LA, and the first thing, something just told me, you should scope out how far a hospital is. I could have ignored it and just like, whatever, like, she's good. But I listened to the voice. I said, you know what? I don't really know too much about LA, Culver City area, so I'm going to take a drive and just time it to see how long it takes to get to the hospital, what's the shortest and quickest route, whatever, right? Literally, like, the next day, I had to take her to the hospital. And if I didn't listen to that voice, I'm not saying, like, she'd not be here, but it would have been much more difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew everything. I was like, oh, I know how to get to the hospital. I knew the shortest route. I just went there and pulled in, and we got there within, like, I think 5 minutes. So the point is like, you have to kind of stay connected to God to be able to hear and discern that voice and listen, right? Not only listen to God, but listen to who God is speaking through. Because sometimes your partner, God is speaking through that partner to give you advice. But if you're, like, hard-headed and you're not, what does she know?
Yeah, that happens a lot in relationships.
Like, you just, you're too hard-headed and you just don't listen, and you miss opportunities. You blow it. And then what happens? You go around the mountain again.
Or through the wilderness.
And then, you got some wives who are just like, you see? I told you so. Or you're just
Same thing with a husband.
Same thing with the husband. But even if they do say, it told you so, they can say it in a gentle way. But say, hey, it's a learning lesson. Do me a favor. Like, I'm not here to try and harm you. Listen to me. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, okay. But this is a partnership. It's not like I told you so, or he say, or she say, or any. It's like, no. In a mature relationship, you have to say, all right, I'm going to listen to you. And if it doesn't work, like, it didn't work this time. We tried.
That says something. All egos basically have to be shut down. You have to be in your relationship at all times. In your marriage, to have a healthy one and keep that balance, that perfect balance. And nothing's perfect, but it's important in a relationship to turn off your ego. So many of you may not know your ego, but the ego plays a huge role in how humble you are towards your partner, towards a person in any relationship. And you have to come with your ears open, your heart open, and your mouth sometimes zipped. As I said, it goes back to listening. It goes back to seeing what is this person trying to share with me, or what is God using this person to pour into me? Like, in what area is this person really trying to harm me? Look at yourself. What really also is important for me in our relationship, I'll give you an example, is being being a person who is willing to accept truths and faults. We all have our areas, our little areas that we need to be tweaked in, trained in, just guided sometimes and helped. And it's hard. No one wants to accept their truths, or, hey, you don't listen to me, or, hey, you scream a lot, you cuss too much. Whatever it is that person's flaw is, you have to be able to accept your truth and be able to kindly serve the truth without trying to smack a person, poke a person, shoot a person, like how he made me look on that other video. Which, by the way, I don't go that far. No, I don't. I am not that kind of personality. But those are key things. So we've touched on listening, praying about it on one accord, keeping God at the center, in the midst, at the front, at the back of it all, and being able to listen to, God's voice, or some of you may say instincts, your gut instinct, because a lot of it, you also have things that you can naturally feel that, God is saying when you get in your car, hey, don't go that route. And that feeling that you get, that reactive feeling, for you not to make that left, could be that one turning moment or point where it's like you turn that way and you end up in a bad accident, whereas you knew it. Man, I knew when I woke up I'm supposed to go, a mile up the road and then make that left. So that's what other points?
I would say
communication. We've touched on that.
No, in an analogy, like, treat your partner like a seed, right? That you're constantly watering.
That's a good one.
Right? Because, when you get your partner, they're not like, 1,000%, unless, like, they're, even if they're a billionaire and successful, like, you marry somebody, there's always room for growth.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the only way growth occurs is if you nurture it and you water it, and you make sure that it's steadily growing and not being contained where it can't grow up.
Yes.
So always look at your partner as like a wonderful seed that's just going to bear like so much fruit. Because again, no one knows, usually like partners kind of like know, like, they don't just get with a person. It's like, oh yeah, they be like, I think this person's going to be this person's going to be a good father, or this and that. So, you're getting with that person. So you got to hold on to that little seed. It's like, okay, this person's, my wife is going to be this. And I'm going to keep holding on to that seed and keep watering it and guiding it and nurturing it.
Encouraging it.
100%. And next thing you know, everything that you thought, everything that you've spoken, it just manifests. It's created. God created the universe from nothing just by his voice. If we are children of God, what can we speak into existence?
Yes, that's a good addition that you just added in.
So,
great. And it goes to, we watch a lot of YouTube videos as well as a couple. Most of it is, inspirational speakers. Just things that affirm a lot of what we naturally do daily in our lives,
100%.
From speaking, I am strong, I am an overcomer, I have the ability to do this, whatever it is that your affirmations are, you meditate on when you have your time with God. Know too that the word says ye are also gods. God is within you. So Yeah, that was really good. You can actually give the example, come to think of it, of speaking to water when you saw that video. When you
right.
speak to water in a cup of, well, not any water, but if you fill up a glass of water, was it?
Okay, so another analogy is right. Water is the ultimate conduit for vibrations, right? So there was a Japanese scientist that tested this theory. So he took water, a couple of glasses of water, and froze them, right? One, he spoke beautiful words to it. He put
Nurtured
positive
it.
music, and it formed these beautiful ice crystals. Then other ones, he just, I hate you, you're ugly. He just berated the water with just nasty words. And when he froze it, it looked deformed and disgusting. So, what is human beings? What are human beings composed mostly of? Water.
Yep.
Right? Which is why we can create things with our voice, because we're fluid beings, so we can like literally manifest things. So
the voice of God.
The voice of God.
We are the voice of God.
Amen.
And at different levels, you know.
Right.
And the same thing, there's many other tests that have shown, even with children, you know, they've taken children that live in a certain environment or condition, and then other children that live in a different environment with different parents, different upbringings. One setting was negative. They would scream at their kids, belittle them, talk down to them. The other ones, they would love on, speak beautiful words, loving words, kind words, and they showed the difference of how these children grew up, how it affected them mentally, physically, what they were able to take on, what they were able to overcome, what were hindrances due to whatever environment they came from. So words are powerful, they're huge, your thoughts. And it's key in remaining, or when you're remaining in this stillness, it is key to fundamentally, as a couple, being married, elevating, or
Sinking.
I was going to say failing, but sinking is good. Failing at something or elevating at something. So you have the power to be triumphant, to propel into what you want to call forth, and have God, you know, pour into it for you. So,
and don't be afraid to fail. Failing is a great thing, right? But God tests you. So how bad do you want it, right? Are you going to pass the test, right? There's so many relationships that, you know, couples that split up over silliness, over arguments. You know, if you cheat, I can't say anything else on a couple by couple basis, but can you forgive? Can you like move on? Especially if you believe, if you know, all right, it's going to take a little bit more work. We failed at this. We failed at that, but we're going to keep trying and keep failing and succeeding. And those little failures will eventually add up to a huge, huge success. So don't be afraid to fail and use those failures as springboards to success.
Yes, I love that. That's great. And well, let us know, guys, on that note, what you guys, you know, in your marriages, relationships, mother, father, whatever it is, just share with us in the comments below. Suggestions, tips, what do you guys do in order to elevate and remain while you're remaining still? That's what our topic was.
Remaining level-headed through the storm.
Remaining level-headed.
So what do you do? What are your decision-making strategies to keep your mind level-headed while navigating through the storm? And don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. hit that notification bell, subscribe to this channel, get us higher up in the ranking. We love all the positive feedback we are getting.
And we love bringing you guys all these conversational pieces and keeping it transparent. We love bringing these. We love to bring you guys these topics that you can relate to. And don't forget to let us know what you would like to hear in the new upcoming episodes so that we can share it with you guys from our perspective and bring it from our home to your home. Thank you guys for joining us. Like my husband said here, subscribe, like, hit that notification button, and thank you for joining us on our godly platform to
inspire.
He still can't get it. Thank you for joining us on Life Untangled, a godly platform to inspire, evolve, and share all our transparencies.
And don't forget, like this video right here. This is the one you need to go to.
No, over here. You guys will definitely like this one more.
All right.